Welcome back, aviation and tech enthusiasts. Today, we are shifting our focus to a massive development in the strategic tech landscape that has everyone talking. We are diving deep into the mystery surrounding Russia's Elbrus processors, the flagship Elbrus-16S, and the specialized Elbrus-2S3. Reports are flying around that production has secretly restarted in a friendly country, and the implications for sovereign infrastructure are huge. We will break down the tech, the secrecy, and why talking about it too much might actually ruin the whole operation. Make sure you watch till the end, because this story connects directly to how critical defense systems stay online when the world tries to shut them down. In mid-June 2026, the country's technology and defense-oriented media milieu experienced a sudden surge in discussion regarding Russia's Elbrus processor family. The catalyst was a series of reports asserting that MCST, the developer of the Elbrus architecture, had allegedly resumed serial production of the Elbrus-2S3 and Elbrus-16S processors in a friendly country. The absence of any official confirmation from MCST itself was what made the story particularly intriguing. However, the allegations were rapidly shared through blogs, Telegram channels, and specialized technology publications. This sudden resurgence of interest is completely understandable. Many observers believed that the survival of Russia's indigenous processor programs was totally up in the air as a result of the sanctions and export restrictions that were implemented after 2022. The project's effective termination was predicted by some analysts after Taiwan's TSMC, which produced the most sophisticated Elbrus chips, ceased supplying processors to Russian customers. Given this context, any indication that production has resumed is certain to generate substantial interest. However, there is more to the narrative. Disclosure of the specifics may result in more complications than advantages, even if manufacturing has been effectively re-established abroad. To understand why this matters, we have to look closely at the Elbrus-2S3, which is a specialized processor for critical infrastructure. The Elbrus-2S3 is a compact system-on-chip that was developed for embedded and mission-critical applications. It is a member of the sixth iteration of Russia's indigenous Elbrus architecture. The processor, which is built using a 16-nanometer process technology, integrates a graphics subsystem that includes dedicated 2D and 3D acceleration capabilities with two general-purpose CPU cores that operate at speeds of up to 2 GHz. The processor's lower power consumption, which is approximately 30 watts, is one of its most critical attributes. This renders it especially appealing for industrial computers, robotic systems, communication equipment, transportation electronics, and military-grade embedded platforms, where reliability and efficiency are more important than raw computing capacity. Let's take a quick step back here, because people love to look at these tech specs and compare them to the latest gaming chips. Critics at times compare the Elbrus-2S3 to mainstream processors from Intel or AMD and assume that it is unable to compete in consumer markets. Look, my friends, such comparisons are totally missing the point. The processor was never intended to be used to power high-end workstations or gaming PCs. Its primary objective is to establish a secure computing platform for critical information infrastructure, where technological sovereignty and cybersecurity are frequently more significant than benchmark performance. The chip has been incorporated into various specialized devices, communications systems, control devices, and industrial single-board computers that are used by government agencies and strategic industries. Development of the processor continued even after sanctions disrupted production chains. Industrial computers, automation systems, and secure computing platforms were among the new devices that Russian manufacturers introduced in 2025, all of which were based on the Elbrus-2S3. In 2026, there were also reports of new processor modules that were built around the microprocessor for robotics, onboard systems, and communications hardware. These developments indicate that the platform continues to be pertinent and continues to pique the interest of domestic developers. This brings us directly to the Elbrus-16S, which stands as the flagship of the Elbrus family. The Elbrus-16S is positioned in a unique market segment, whereas the Elbrus-2S3 is designed for embedded and specialized applications. The processor is the most potent implementation of the sixth-generation Elbrus architecture. It boasts sophisticated virtualization capabilities, extensive cache resources, and support for up to 1 terabyte of DDR4 memory per processor, in addition to 16 processing cores. 2 versions were intended to operate at frequencies of 2.0 GHz and 1.8 GHz, as indicated by previous technical disclosures. The cache hierarchy was substantial for a processor of its class. The entire device shared a large L3 cache, while each core had dedicated L1 and L2 caches. The processor was also intended to facilitate virtualization environments, which included the hardware-assisted execution of software that was originally developed for Intel's x86-64 ecosystem. Hold on a minute, because coming up next, we are going to look at how exactly Russia ended up in this foreign chip factory trap in the first place. And trust me, you will want to stay tuned for that breakdown. The Elbrus-16S was designed for high-performance applications, including servers, storage systems, data centers, and scientific computation, in contrast to the relatively inexpensive Elbrus-2S3. Consequently, it was never intended that the processor would become a mass-market product. Naturally, the production volumes and customer numbers of this product were restricted by its price, complexity, and intended deployment scenarios. Nevertheless, it continues to be one of the most strategically significant processors ever developed in the domestic computing industry of Russia. The Elbrus-16S is a substantial technological asset for organizations that are interested in reducing their reliance on foreign hardware platforms. To see how they got here, we have to examine how Russia became dependent on foreign manufacturing. The history of the Elbrus project illustrates a broader challenge faced by the Russian semiconductor industry. After the Soviet era, Russia maintained its strong competencies in microelectronics engineering and processor design. However, its domestic manufacturing capabilities progressively deteriorated in comparison to those of the global leaders. The production of competitive circuits necessitated the development of increasingly sophisticated fabrication facilities as semiconductor technology progressed towards smaller process nodes. It was evident by the early 2010s that the equipment available for the domestic production of modern processors was no longer sufficient. The global industry was rapidly transitioning to 28 nanometer, 16 nanometer, and even more advanced manufacturing nodes, while a significant portion of Russia's production infrastructure was restricted to considerably obsolete process technologies. Consequently, MCST depended on foreign foundries for its production. The Elbrus-2S3 and Elbrus-16S were fabricated using the same method as the Elbrus-4S and Elbrus-8S, which were previous processors that were manufactured overseas. The principal manufacturing partner was Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. The relationship was disrupted by sanctions and export restrictions in 2022, which terminated this arrangement. Access to future production capacity was effectively eliminated, and deliveries of completed processors were suspended. Many commentators at the time declared that Russian processor development had reached a dead end. Those predictions ultimately proved premature. This brings us to the breaking news of reports of production resuming abroad. MCST has reportedly resumed receiving supplies of both the Elbrus-2S3 and Elbrus-16S processors, according to information that surfaced in June 2026. According to industry sources, the manufacturing process has been centralized in a foreign country that is favorable and has the requisite semiconductor fabrication capabilities. The location of production and the identity of the contractor engaged have not been officially disclosed. Nevertheless, indications suggest the delivery may already include thousands of Elbrus-16S processors and additional quantities of Elbrus-2S3 chips. Further, market participants have reported that the collaboration between MCST and Russian equipment manufacturers has been heightened since early 2026, enabling the development of new hardware products that are based on the processors. Now, I need to remind you that until formal confirmation is provided, such claims should be regarded with caution due to their major reliance on unnamed sources. But it is funny how these unnamed sources always seem to pop up right when supply chains magically start moving again. However, the information that has been repeatedly disseminated through various industry channels has generated a significant amount of speculation. This leads into a very critical question, which is why public attention could be counterproductive. Don't go anywhere, because in just a moment, we are going to look at the massive 30-year road Russia faces to bring this manufacturing entirely home, and you definitely want to see how that timeline plays out. The processors themselves may not be the most captivating aspect of the narrative. Rather, it is the discourse that surrounds their production. If production has indeed been successfully relocated to a foreign partner in a favorable nation, the potential for serious difficulties arises when the partner is publicly identified. The semiconductor industry is intricately linked to global supply chains. International markets, foreign equipment suppliers, and global financial systems are frequently relied upon by even countries that maintain cooperative relations with Russia. Additional scrutiny, sanctions pressure, or restrictions that impact the company's broader business activities may result from publicly emphasizing a contractor's involvement in the development of sanctioned technologies. From this standpoint, the absence of official statements from MCST is entirely logical. If the processors are already being manufactured and delivered, disclosing operational details is of little practical value and may increase the hazards for all parties. Discretion may be much more valuable than publicity in the present geopolitical climate. All of this highlights the long road toward domestic semiconductor manufacturing. Simultaneously, Russia is making strides to revitalize and broaden its semiconductor manufacturing infrastructure. Nevertheless, this procedure is exceedingly intricate and time-consuming. Sustained investment throughout the 2030s will be necessary to achieve wholly domestic production at advanced technology nodes, according to industry experts. In the interim, alternative manufacturing arrangements abroad may continue to serve as a necessary bridge. Preserving access to Elbrus processors is strategically significant from this standpoint. The most valuable aspect of the program is not particularly the location of the chip manufacturing, but rather the fact that the processor architecture itself remains a Russian intellectual property asset. The country is able to maintain sovereign computing platforms for critical infrastructure, defense systems, and sensitive government applications by exercising control over the architecture. In conclusion, and looking at the big picture, despite the severe disruptions caused by sanctions and supply chain restrictions, the renewed reports surrounding the Elbrus-2S3 and Elbrus-16S indicate that Russia's indigenous processor ecosystem is still alive. Industry sources are increasingly suggesting that processor deliveries will resume and that Elbrus-based hardware will gradually return to the market, despite the fact that many details remain unconfirmed. This type of technical adaptation and underground supply network tracking is exactly what we follow closely on the Altitude Addicts YouTube channel. The development would be a major milestone if the Elbrus family's production is indeed effectively restored through friendly international partners, while Russia is in the process of developing its own semiconductor industry. The likelihood of the arrangement continuing to operate successfully is increased when less attention is given to the precise location of those manufacturing facilities in such circumstances. If you want to keep up with how these defense tech shifts impact broader aerospace and strategic platforms, make sure to subscribe to Altitude Addicts for deep dive technical breakdowns. We will be tracking these chip deliveries as more data emerges, so stay tuned to Altitude Addicts for the latest updates. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. We thank the people who have liked and shared the videos and subscribed to the channel. We also thank the people who have hyped the videos